Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Emerald Flow Show. We're a podcast on the Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network. You can follow us on X at Emerald Flow Show and follow us on all of your favorite podcast apps and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you use it. You can also donate to the show at voicesofwrestling.com/donate. I'm Gerard here with Paul. Paul, we've got a huge show ahead of us, probably one of the longest run sheets we've ever done. But
yeah,
of course, you know how we have to start off the show.
Yes, it's where in the world was I? Oh no, actually, that's what you want to start out. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We'll get to your travels in a second, but we obviously have to start with the fact that Jake Lee signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Paul, what is your
He's finally gone.
Impressions?
It's over. It's finally over. The nightmare has ended. He's finally gone. You know what? I think I will actually miss him. I mean, to be fair, I will still watch him because I do watch New Japan.
Yes.
But I mean, I think at the end of the day, good for him. Because, what have I been saying, right? Like, his trajectory was always kind of going to be the same, no matter what company he's in. Like, because he's kind of tall and he's a good wrestler, but he just doesn't have that next gear and everything. Like, he's always kind of going to be a guy that will get pushed to some degree. Like, he will always be, at worst, be like a mid-carder to upper mid-carder that is like a gatekeeper for somebody else. Like, he will get title challenges and everything, maybe win like a secondary title. Like, that's basically what he was going to be in All Japan after they gave up on him as a main eventer. That's what he was going to be in Noah. Like, that's the trajectory he was on in Noah, right? Like, because they were very clearly he was not like going to be a main eventer, but he was still going to be like an upper mid-card guy. And that's what he's going to be in New Japan. So I think good for him to like sign with the company that is just going to pay him the most money for doing exactly that.
Yeah. And he's got his tag team with Gabriel Kidd that people seem very excited for. People think that win the real world, but the World Tag League. You know what? I was thinking about this. We'll talk about this a little later. New Japan is in such a transition phase, is that it's entirely possible that Jake falls upwards even further because certain other people don't work out.
Oh, you think like Shota Umino crashes and burns and then they put the belt on him?
Well, I mean, part of it, but could you see like like think of the way that Shingo got the belt?
Oh yeah, but it just needed someone to just step in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that because again, like he is also a former champion, right? So I think that
I would
helped.
not. I
Like
would
he's a
not.
former champion in 2 companies.
I would not put money on that, but I don't think it's impossible.
I think he definitely will. I have, at the very least, he will get a title shot. I do think that will happen eventually,
Yeah. Sure.
wherever that will actually be. But I do think he will get it, like, I mean, like an IWG heavyweight, like a world heavyweight title shot, not just for like the never belt or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think he will get a title shot for that. I guess not against Naito because like, this is nothing there. Just Naito just beat him like a drum.
Twice. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
match was good.
Yeah, so I don't think he will challenge Naito. I think they made that very clear. But I do think, yeah, if like one of the young guys wins the belt, I think he is worth people that you could have like as a first challenger than like Jake, for example.
Yeah, for sure. And so we have to obviously start with that because Jake has been the ups and downs of Jake. It's a part of the show. It's history. But
Yeah,
transition. Yeah,
it literally is the end of an era.
it is in the end of an era. He's left our orbit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good luck to him.
Yeah,
But
all the best.
I mean,
And hopefully he finally gets that citizenship because, my God, it's absurd that he doesn't have it.
yeah. So it'll be interesting. We might check in 6 months from now and see how Jake is doing.
Yeah.
It'd be
Now, one thing though, maybe on the Noah or on him leaving Noah is like, my God, does Noah look fucking stupid now?
Well, yeah, the
way this went.
We were talking right off the air, and we'll get into it more later about doom and gloom around Noah after recent shows. But that doesn't help, I think, people's impression of him.
No, because you literally had fucking Gedo, the Booker of New Japan, come to the ring after a match and be like, hey, Jake, this place stinks. Do you want to come to New Japan? And Jake being like, yeah, you're right. This place does suck. And then he left. It's like,
Well, yeah.
Why would you allow that to happen on your show?
And I think GLG as a unit had some juice, right?
Yeah.
Over as a Jack Morris is their top foreigner, and they all got punked out.
Yeah. And all they really got was like him flipping off Jake in a match, or not even Jake, flipping off the camera and like saying "fuck you, Jake Lee." That's all they've gotten out of it, which cool. Yeah, it's incredibly weird why you would allow that to happen. Like you could have still done like, yeah, GLG disbands, and I mean Jake won that match too. Like you could have, like, if you knew that Jake was like leaving permanently, could you not have had Morris just pin him and then basically just like shoo him out of the ring and be like, yeah, you're done, go to like wherever you're going now.
Yeah. Well, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. One thing that will become apparent is that I am actually less down on Noah than most other people, but that is just like, that was like, in hindsight, that whole thing was just indefensibly stupid.
Yes, for sure. Moving on from Jake, Paul, you did some traveling and so have some reports to make. So
yes, so I went to All In London. That was great. Like 50,000 people, like crowd going nuts. Like that Osprey entrance is like, that's like basically a thing. Like that's just like a core memory basically now. Like when the entire like arena was just like shouting his name, I was just absolutely nuts. Just, I will say a somewhat mixed show, but I still overall, like, I enjoyed myself. Like the entire London trip was great. I did like the carnival and I actually did the ABBA experience thing, the VTuber concert for boomers. That was a ton of fun. And yeah, I just realized that like if AEW is just gonna like run a show, whether it be like All In or like Forbidden Door next year, like around that time every year in London, I think I'm just gonna make this like yearly thing where I just go there every year now, because it's great fun.
you're gonna go to Forbidden Door next.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Forbidden Door. I'm probably gonna do like, because I didn't really do any of the shows like surrounding All In this year. Like I didn't do Rev Pro or like the Progress show on the Monday or Eve or anything like that. Simply because, like I said, I went to the ABBA thing and that was actually my present to my mother for her 60th birthday.
Uh-huh.
So like she was there with me on the trip. So I was like, okay, I can't just like be like abandon my mom who speaks okay English, but definitely not fluent. Like in like central London, just so I can like gallivant off and watch like Rev Pro. So I only went to All In. I was like, I can do it one night. I'm not gonna do it multiple nights. But when I'm going next year, I'm probably also gonna do all of the like surrounding stuff as well.
And then also you have more stuff in Germany you saw.
Yes, so because we had the whole Bash in Berlin thing, I didn't go to that one because A, WWE isn't for me. B, my God, those prices were extortionate. No, thank you. But I did go to the GWF X Rev Pro shows that were happening on Friday and Saturday. The Friday show was actually one of my favorite shows that I've gone to this year in terms of like wrestling shows I've been to live, which I actually recently added up how many shows I'm gonna end up going to this year, and I ended up with 20, which is kind of didn't realize it ended up being that much. But yeah, that was actually one of my favorite shows I've seen live. Zozaya, that's going to be the next guy I'm going to like talk about relentlessly after like I've talked a lot about like Peter Tihani, for example. Right. Zozaya to me is like the next, like that's like the biggest can't miss prospect to come out of Europe since Will Ospreay. So yeah, he's that good. I really hope that he gets booked in Japan, whether it be by like New Japan. I mean, he is already in Rev Pro. So most likely if he goes to Japan, he'll go to New Japan. I think Noah would love to have a guy like that. If they can somehow get him in, I think that would be really good for them. But the main importance, though, for our show is I saw 2 live matches of Taishi Ozawa, who I think is coming along really nicely. His crowd, I think I've talked about it before, but like his crowd connection is like insane at this point. Like he like on the second day, he was in a 5-way match and he was basically the most over guy in there. And he was in there with some like relatively major names as well. And on the first night, he faced JJ Gale. And yeah, that was just an amazing match. I think that might be why I'm less down on Noah than other people, because I think Taishi Ozawa is like going to inject so much energy when he comes back to Noah. Now, if they will capitalize on it, that's obviously a different question, because it's Noah at the end of the day.
Right.
But I do think I think there is something there. I think he has a very unique style. I think like just the energy, like literally that he will bring to matches will just freshen up the promotion. So whenever they do bring him back, I think it's going to be a massive boon for the company. It's just they need to capitalize on it, which I know that's something they struggled with, but I do think he can be someone that can, maybe not fully, but can at least like be the start of a turnaround.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that report. So do you have any sort of like inkling on how much longer Ozawa is going to be hanging around in Europe or no?
Not really. I mean, he actually sold a shirt now, which I don't think it definitely isn't a Noah shirt, because the what's it called again? The fabric and everything is like way different from like official Noah shirts.
Well, you showed me it's very minimalist.
It's very, very minimalist. It's literally just his mask with like his name underneath it. But the more I've thought about it and actually have worn it now, I'm like, I actually like it, because it's like the kind of wrestling shirt you can kind of just wear, right? Like it's just a black shirt with like a logo on it, essentially. So, and it's like also a small logo. Like it's literally just a small logo in like the top, like left. So it literally could just be like the clothing label, essentially. So yeah, I do actually like the shirt more now. Like after I bought it, I was like, yeah, that's not a lot, but like after I've worn it a couple of times, I'm like, you know what? This is actually, I like it because I can walk around it and I don't look like a psychopath wearing the shirt just on like a regular day.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't really have a good feeling. He did have like a title match in GWF, like for the Berlin title, not for the main title, on Sunday. Because They also ran a show on Sunday, but I couldn't get tickets for that one. He had a title match there. He lost that match, but I still didn't have the feeling that he's going to be back super soon. We'll see. I actually had a quick chat with him and I bought the shirt, but yeah, I couldn't really get anything out of him.
Did you tell him that he's the future of Noah?
I literally was wearing my Noah hat and he was like, "Where did you buy that?"
Okay.
Yeah. I would definitely obviously expect him. Wait, has he been announced? Yeah, he has. Yeah, obviously, he's announced for the UK tour. Yeah. So he's going to be on that. I mean, what point would there be to bring him back right now, right? Because there's not much there for the back half of the year. So I feel like if they bring him back at the earliest, I would say for New Year. But I also have a feeling maybe that he's just because that would also be only a 1 year excursion because he was still there in January, because that's when I first saw him, because I saw him on the shows in January. So I feel like maybe if he comes back for the N1 next year, it would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of the Noah UK tour update, apparently, according to a tweet from Marufuji, they had them bus up to Scotland from what I assume is landing in Japan, instead of flying them into Scotland, or at least getting a connecting flight in London, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's. I mean, but that kind of tells me that it's the company behind Progress is footing the bill here, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like Noah would have been like, yeah, I don't know, just fly to Scotland. Yeah,
Marufuji's tweets translated as, after about 15 hours of flight, we now have an 8-hour bus ride.
Oh, God, kill me. I remember coming back from Japan and just basically having my dad drag me back to my apartment because I was so tired. I can't imagine having to be on a bus for 8 hours. And I just had to literally go on a train that goes from the airport to a train station. It is a 15-minute walk from where I am right now. I can't imagine being on a 8-hour bus after that.
I think they got a show tonight.
Yeah, I think it's God. Isn't it tomorrow the first show? Wasn't it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? But yeah, also tickets don't appear to be selling very well for that one.
Yeah.
I actually looked at the ticket websites, and I basically just clicked until I basically was I think the maximum amount of tickets you're allowed to purchase in one go is 7, and I was able to get to 7 on every single ticket category. So including first row, if you still have that many first row tickets outstanding, hours to days from the show, that's bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would assume hopefully that, do you think Noah's on the hook for any of this cash is on Progress?
No, I do think it's a sold show basically, where it's Progress was hey, we're gonna bring over a bunch of Noah guys and do a tour with them and sell a bunch of tickets, because they have a bunch of connections to the UK anyway, right? Because they have the Progress connection. They have Stu and Mark, who are both from the UK, and G-Man, who's also from the UK. So makes sense. But yeah, I doubt this is a Noah paid tour. I think this is Progress paid Noah to send over a bunch of people.
And they're the ones about to eat shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's also that shows aren't on Wrestle Universe.
Are they on some sort of pay-per-view streaming or nothing?
I think they're I don't. Do they stream anywhere? Maybe they're on Progress on Demand.
Yeah, I would think that's the place.
I think that's your strongest indication that this isn't a real quote unquote Noah show, because it's not on Wrestle Universe or on Abema, which normally obviously anything that Noah airs would be on one of those, because those guys literally own the company, so they would want that stuff to be on their service, whereas they aren't at all. Okay, they at least list them on their website. I was actually checking if they even show them. No, so the first show is tomorrow. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So tomorrow is Edinburgh. Oh God. I just looked at the Noah website. Ooh. Ooh, like I don't think anyone saw that because they have it listed as Edinburgh, England, which that's not gonna make people happy.
Hardy hard.
But yeah, they also don't have it listed as like either on Wrestle Universe or a Beamer. So either they don't air, but I would assume they're on Progress on Demand, which that tells me it's a Progress show with some Noah labeling.
You probably know, I don't know, maybe you know the lay of the land in terms of the Brit Res scene, but what is the logic of running Edinburgh over?
Okay, that one I don't know. No. I think, isn't Edinburgh the one where ICW mainly runs, isn't it? I think so.
Okay, is that the case? Okay, because I don't know anything about Scottish.
Yeah, I do think I think ICW runs out of there, and that's why there's a more established wrestling scene, would be my thing, basically. And I think Grado's from there.
Okay.
Which, did you see the Sun, like, advertising it as... No, actually Grado's from Glasgow. Never mind.
Okay.
And ICW also runs Glasgow. So yeah, I actually don't have an answer for you why they run Edinburgh instead of Glasgow.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure on that. I was sort of, there was like a logic.
No, it doesn't. Unless there is, I'm not aware of it. London makes sense.
Yeah. So then we're going to move on really quickly to DDT. Paul, did you see any of this show from the 25th of August?
No, I didn't really have any time to like watch like additional shows essentially.
So I just watched the top two matches, and which was the special 6-man tag match: Tetsuya Endo, Yuki Ino, and Yuya Kuroku defeating Kota Ibushi, Denshoku Dino, and Akito. First of all, Kuroku's new outfit makes him look like a male stripper. Second of all, I know Ibushi was perfectly fine. If you had never seen Ibushi before, you would think that he's a perfectly average pro wrestler. You know,
Oh, that's depressing.
he did a frog splash and he did a missile dropkick were his biggest high spots. However, I will give him somewhat credit in this is that since Ibushi left New Japan in the few matches he had, this is the match that he looked like the most like he actually wanted to be. He was
yeah.
He was really into doing the humor with Dino.
I mean, that's good, but I don't know. To me, it's just kind of depressing. It's really my thing.
Yeah.
Because he was so good, and if he's just like average now, that's just depressing, really.
And then in the KOD openweight titles, Shinya Aoki surprised everyone by beating Yuki Ueno in 19 minutes and 49 seconds with a modified ground octopus hold. I mean, if you like if you like shoot style and mat wrestling, I highly recommend this match. I went 4 stars on it. I think some people are slightly overhyping it, so being shoot style perverts. But I mean, I thought this was a really great match. The crowd was really into a lot of the mat work. The crowd popping for all of the submission attempts from Aoki. I think it's getting overrated because it's sort of like a novelty style match these days. But I mean, if you look at it in sort of historical perspective, it's like pretty good match, but like not the top match of this style by any means. But then we got Endo challenging, and both Aoki and Endo talked about wanting to face Katsuhiko Nakajima. And Paul, did you see the poster for this Saturday's show?
Yeah, there's two big X's right there.
So Nakajima weaseling his way into DDT. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And I mean, DDT is kind of like working with great at the moment anyway, right?
Yes, they are. There are some DDT fans that are very pissed, but you know what?
Oh yeah.
I say bring it on. I can't wait.
You know what? I think Nakajima should win.
I don't know. I think Nakajima. I mean, if they're bringing him in,
he should be, yeah. But it would be very funny if he just knocks him out again and wins.
Look, he is a man-child. He's proven that he's got a chip on his shoulder and can't hold down a job. But I still love Katsuhiko Nakajima. I'm sorry.
No, he's still a tremendous wrestler. It's just the fall has been pretty big over like the course of the last 365 days, basically.
I mean,
it was a rise and then a fall.
If this is a sustained DDT run, it's a bit of a rise instead of coming it up in the great UWF division. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Ledette UWF division.
Yes, and being like a trainer and like actress girls.
Yeah. Basically being the unofficial trainer for Mari Gold because it continued to take actress girls' talent.
Yeah,
I think some more jumped, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Nakajima these days, but you best I'm gonna watch at least like all DDT shows. I'll probably watch the top couple of matches on this.
Yeah, I'm
Day one.
definitely I'm interested in like if Endo wins and then Nakajima comes in, I'm definitely more interested. Like I'm just kind of thinking like aren't they also kind of aiming for like Ibushi versus Endo as well?
Yeah. Uh Honestly, I would like to see a Nakajima versus
I that could go horribly. Would be
I
very
would watch
interesting.
it.
Yes.
No, it would be the match most likely to force Ibushi to become like Bruiser Ibushi that people want.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, yeah. Actually, you know what? Yeah, because like that's just what he should be doing, and not like frog splashes. Because
Yeah, exactly. And then I have to touch on this show, Takayamania Empire III. Paul, did you watch this?
no.
I watched this, and this was 2,800 yen well spent. To be completely honest with you, and hey, I don't feel bad about it because I assume it's going to Takayama.
Mm-hmm.
So they did 1,701 fans in Korakuen, and also I should add that T did 1,369 fans at Korakuen also, which is really good for them in Korakuen.
Yeah, above the normal sellout.
Yes, of 999. So look, first of all, everything on the undercard was basically a comedy match in some form. Like the first match was called Hard Hit versus Hardcore. It was Hideki Suzuki and Jun Kasai versus Hikaru Sato and Takayuki Ueki. And so this started with like Suzuki and Sato brawling, and then like when Kasai and Ueki got tagged in, they threw a bunch of chairs and it became a hardcore match. And Ueki got pinned, and Sato left to the back with a bunch of skewers in his head. I mean, it was ridiculous. We had Meiko Satomura versus Kayusi Sakura Hirota, now doing the Kyusei Yoshihiro Takayama gimmick. So she came out in these very large boots that were also doubled as stilts. So she was like being Takayama. And this was a pure comedy match, even though, Satomura is basically on her retirement countdown. But the crowd loved it. And the crowd for on this show was incredible. Like everything. There was no comedy that was not funny to them. Um, and then there was the Team 300 kilogram showdown. It was Jun Akiyama, Shuji Ishikawa, and Hiroyo Matsumoto versus Masao Inoue, Chihiro Hashimoto, and Yu. They beat the latter team in 1752 with a roll up from Akiyama on Inoue. Paul, the whole gist of this match was them basically turning Inoue's like the fact that he can barely walk into like the gimmick of the match.
So they kind of like worked around him being unable to move, essentially.
Yes, they did comedy spots where like it was like Inoue couldn't get into the ring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he can't.
And then like there'd be times where he'd be on the ground and like he'd be getting stomped by Akiyama, and then it would be like, well, his other team had to come save him and drag him to the corner for a tag and everything like that. But this also went 17, almost 18 minutes, which is way too long for what it was.
Yeah, I looked at that. That seems. I mean, okay, if you
But-
do that for like a 5-minute match, but 17.
And here's the thing: there was way too much Inoue. Like I was like, okay, they tagged in Inoue early on. I thought he would do a couple spots and get out. No, he was like the focal point of a lot of this match.
Hmm?
And the brief times that he wasn't tagged in, I mean, it was a perfectly. This match is awesome. So
Yeah.
And then it was Naomichi Marufuji and Danshoku Dino versus Kikutaro and Raido Hama. Paul, I completely like fast forward through this match. I didn't care.
Seems fair.
And it was what you thought it was. And Kikutaro and Hama were in these costumes. I didn't know what they were supposed to be either.
Probably some sort of Takayama reference, I guess.
I don't. And then in the main event, Katsuyori Shibata defeated Minoru Suzuki in 27-18 with the PK. Paul, this crowd had a lot of people with like Takayama merch on and Shibata merch and Shibata towels on. Paul, this guy could still be a draw in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was a very hardcore crowd, but like the crowd went insane for this. Like this is one of the loudest Korakuen crowds ever for Shibata I've ever seen for Shibata. Like he had them in the palm of his hand. Like I don't know how he would be outside, like as a regular wrestler somewhere, but like there's juice for him in Japan, I think.
Yeah, and it's not like he's really doing anything in like AEW at the moment.
Yeah, I was like, Noah's got to use him. But
Noah is like the one I was thinking of immediately as well.
But I don't know.
Because I don't think New Japan would be like the best spot for him.
Well, I'm only bringing this up because they could have used him if they wanted to, but they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very clear that they don't. Whereas Noah kind of pretty desperately needs like more people.
Yeah. Paul, this was a total spectacle. There's a couple of negative reviews on Cage Match, but mostly positive. But like, they basically wanted to redo Sasaki versus Kobashi chop battle, and they did for like 20 minutes. And they also went into the orange seats at Korakuen and had a chop battle, and were on the outside. And you know who was on commentary for this match?
Kobashi?
Yeah. And they went over and got chopped by Kobashi while he was on.
Oh, nice.
And then obviously Korakuen exploded into the Kobashi chant. Everything. They finally got back into the ring, and then like they actually did some wrestling, which was good. And then like, you know, Suzuki kicked out of a PK at 1, but then like Shibata did another PK and got the win. I think this is worth watching just for the whole spectacle of it all. I mean, you just have nuclear heat from the crowd and just them just slugging each other. Suzuki got busted open hard way, but it was one of those hard way cuts that bleed that much, but still I think that added a bit to it. So it's definitely worth a watch. And then this was after the match, easily one of the most emotional things I've ever seen in professional wrestling. Everyone gets in the ring, they bring Takayama out, and everyone's crying. Minoru Suzuki is crying, and Hikaru is crying, and they get they bring Takayama, they take the ropes down and put Takayama in the ring, and they have they put Suzuki and Takayama in opposite corners and ring the bell and everything like that. And then Suzuki gets on the mic and is talking to him and is crying and everything. One of the most emotional things I've ever seen. So yeah, you got to watch that and the whole post-match angle with Takayama.
Okay, then I think I do have to kind of go back and like actually watch it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just incredible. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm sure they'll have another one of these matches in the future and everything like that. But literally one of the most emotional things I've ever seen in professional wrestling by a mile. Just you know, still thinking. Yeah. So that is that. Now we finally have to talk about Noah. So we left off. I'm just going to go for these non-final shows real quick. But Paul, I think it's fair to say that this tournament lost some momentum in the final stretch. Would you say?
Yes.
Even before the final show.
I think it definitely did. I somewhat hesitant to kind of blame them because obviously it got fucked like so many, they literally had to deal with 3 injuries.
Yeah.
So I can't really blame them that things went off the rails, but I also think the effort levels went down a bit as well. I think there was like a bit of a deflation for like the wrestlers as well. So yeah, it was a very weird tournament in the back half.
Yeah. So on the 17th at Tokyo Tamamura MSA in front of 411 fans, I mean, we had Keno versus Alpha Wolf, which went to a double count out because, well, you know.
Yeah.
And people
had to get to the point somehow.
Yeah. You had Jack Morris defeat Luis Monte in 11:59 with a cradle. I thought this was actually not bad. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was solid. I was a little bit disappointed, but yeah, I mean, like I said, this was just kind of like what the rest of the turn was going to be. Where it's like, okay, let's see what they can do, and then it was like, yeah, that was fine.
And then Manabu Soya defeated Uka Sasaki in 12:54 with a dando. I thought that this was another solid performance from Sasaki and Soya, and they sort of were like the highlight of the show.
Yeah, I also thought this was the best match on the show. I think Sasaki is one of the guys I think that has actually raised his stock in the tournament, like one of the few guys that actually raised his stock in this tournament.
One of the few guys that raised his stock in the tournament.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, to be fair, again, also you have to consider that this guy has also been wrestling for less than a year.
Yeah.
It was literally there for his debut match. So I think for like given that fact, I think he has shown that he can hang with these guys, which is very good.
Yeah. And then the main event, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Josh Briggs in 1954 with the modified Shining Wizard. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I don't know. It was solid. I mean, Kaito is like...
Yeah, it was fine, I thought.
The best wrestler on the planet, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people were a little too hard on this, but I thought it was just fine, right?
Yeah,
then we
I
go to-
mean,
we go to
it is incredibly hard to have a bad match with Kaito.
Exactly. Then we go to August 18th in Sendai in front of 388 fans. We had Titus Alexander being Uka Sasaki in 10 minutes, 58 seconds with the handspring style RKO. I thought they actually did pretty well for each other, even though I thought this could have been a bit of a styles clash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was one of those that I had kind of like circled as well, where I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And I wouldn't say that I was like, blown away by the match, but it was one of those where, like, yeah, same as you, I was like a little bit afraid of like how that this wasn't going to be a good match, but they got a solid match out of each other.
Yeah, they did. And then Ryohei Oiwa defeated Dragon Bane in 11:59 with a Doctor Bomb. I thought this was really good. I think Bane was one of the best performers of the tournament.
Yeah.
Just in terms of just being crazy and,
especially since we were like earlier, we're like basically like just giving him his brother basically all of the flowers. Whereas I do think Bane actually overall has held up better throughout the entire tournament, just because
he had a more
he
consistent,
did more exciting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was going to say, next up, we have Manabu Soya defeating Alpha Wolf in 9:16 with the jumping DDT. And I thought that it was fine, but it didn't really, I thought it was actually be a little better than it was.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well, where it's like, yeah, okay match, but I was also a bit disappointed because there was one of those I had earmarked as like a bit of a sleeper potentially, and it ended up being okay.
And then we had Briggs versus Monte, and I can barely remember this.
Yeah, same. To be honest, I was like, it's it was a Josh Briggs match.
I don't remember it being bad or anything. And then we had Tavion Heights defeating Yoshiki Inamura in 12:41 with the Heights Bomb. I thought it was a little shaky to start, but I thought it finished very strongly.
Yeah, I'm just kind of baffled by the booking.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I would rank this probably below Heights versus Soya and Heights versus Keno.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like those were definitely way better. It was one of his better matches in the tournament, and yeah, especially what basically happened like on the next couple of nights. Like it just, to me, it didn't make any, like you didn't need this to make the points make sense, right? Yeah. So very weird.
And then in the main event, Kaito Kiyomiya and Masa Kitamiya went to a 30-minute time limit draw, which I assume was because of what, like, I don't know, probably wasn't supposed to be that way, but
yeah.
I mean, it was good. It was just like, I don't, 30 minutes.
No, I mean, all of the like draws and countouts and all of those, I'm willing to give him a pass for it because the booking of this entire tournament just got fucked.
It's a perfectly solid match because these are both two great wrestlers. I just don't think you have to, like, it's not like anything amazing or anything like that.
No, I'm never really a big fan of draws anyway. So I also thought this was a perfectly good match, but a draw will always have like a bit of a limit for me.
And then we go to on the 25th in Nagoya at the Nagoya International Conference Hall in front of 843 fans. This was supposed to have Manabu Soya versus Wagner, which I assume was going to be.
You were robbed.
Yes. And also, it was supposed to be Monte versus Katoge, which I bet that Katoge was going to win, right?
To eliminate him, yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
That's why they had to have Monte lose like other matches, basically.
Yeah. So we had Alpha Wolf defeat Titus Alexander in 11:29 with the Wolf Driver. I actually thought this was pretty good, and they worked well together.
Yeah. No, this was one of the matches where I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure these guys can work well together, and they did.
Masa Kitamiya defeated Ryohei Oiwa in 12:17 with the diving senton. Again, I thought this was a very good match, but I was a little shocked with how Oiwa was booked because I thought it was going to be way more of a factor.
Yeah, no, he ended up being like basically non-factor. Yeah,
he was eliminated because Soya had 10 points going into the show.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, there was loads of things where like the blocks ended up being a lot clearer. Like, I don't know if like that's how they were supposed to shake out. I actually have a suspicion that they had to change the final. So,
do you think so?
I think Wagner was gonna make the final.
So, well, okay, let me ask you this then. If because of the injury and they're pulling Wagner, do you really think though they don't trust Soya to do it?
Yeah, I think they just went with like, okay, we had to like Go's out, Wagner's out, Kotoge's out. What can we do? Let's just do Keno versus Kaito. And then it just, because it was also weird that they then just loaded it up with like all kinds of stipulations.
Like the title.
Yeah, and leadership of the faction and all of that. Like, that was very weird instead of just having it as the final. Whereas it makes way more sense that Wagner is like, this is going to be my last N1. If I don't win, I'm never going to enter it again. And it makes way more sense for him to like go to the final and lose there.
Yeah, I just also see it as like they would totally do that normally too. But you may be right.
And he was definitely going to be in the mix here, right? I mean, that much is clear. But because that's what I'm thinking is that the block was going to come down to him versus Sawyer, like on basically like them over like Keno versus Inamura. And I think maybe Inamura was maybe even supposed to beat Keno to eliminate him. And then they obviously had to change that when they had to like put Keno in the final.
Right. And then next up, we had Uka Sasaki defeating Tavion Heights in 9 minutes and 15 seconds with a cross elect. Paul, would you be surprised to learn that I really enjoyed this match for what it was? I mean,
I was, yeah.
But it was like, grappler and like, shoot style and, and Heights.
No, I really enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah. Then Briggs.
I mean, given the experience levels of these two, right? This match shouldn't have been as good as it was. Yeah.
Absolutely. Briggs versus Dragon Bane, and Briggs won with 903 with the lariat. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then here's another disappointing match of the tournament. Keno defeated Yoshiki Inamura in 1729 with the PFS. Paul, this was awesome until the end.
Yeah. No, it was an amazing match, and then the finish came, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, somebody got knocked a little loopy, clearly.
Yeah.
This is the second time in the tournament this happened. Like, just the most cursed tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
2 big injuries and two good matches that had poor finishes because one guy got knocked.
Yeah, and then there was also Dragon Bane potentially like picking up a little injury as well, and absurdly cursed tournament.
So yeah, I mean, this could have been one of the best matches, but it wasn't.
No, because it was just because the end it was just Keno doing moves to an unconscious Yoshiki Inamura.
Yeah. Oh god. And then in the main event, speaking of good matches though, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Jack Morrison 23-48 with the modified Shining Wizard to win the block and go to the finals. This is one of the best matches of the tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt.
And I expected it.
Yeah, out of all of the block matches of the second half, this was by far the best one. And I'm gonna have to think where I would rank it for like all of the matches in the tournament, but
I think
I thought
Morris
this was
had
great.
Morris had a sneaky good tournament. Just brought to the fact that he also had that like match against Kitabia where he was also knocked loopy in the finish.
Yeah. No, but I do think overall he was pretty solid. I think he's definitely come because we were criticizing him for like not really stepping up as a singles worker, and I think he has now.
I thought he started very well for his experience level when he came into Noah, and then he plateaued for a bit, and we were like, okay, well, when's this guy going to get it to the next level? And now he has.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think he can be like a legit main eventer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I thought he was going to the finals of this tournament. That's not the truth. So we go to the Noah N1 Victory 2024 finals in Osaka at the Edion Arena in front of 1,537 fans. Now, there was a tsunami.
Yeah, no, typhoon, not
or typhoon. Sorry, typhoon. Yeah. But that still doesn't explain that what would have been 2,000 fans max. Maybe?
Yeah, I don't think it was going to be a good number, but I do think there's a lot of caveats there.
Yeah, it's a bad number. I think and it still would have been a bad number even without the typhoon warning, right?
Most likely, yes. But like I said, I'm kind of hesitant to like go too speculative on that. Like, I do think it would have been a bad number, but they literally like canceled trains and Noah literally told people to not come. Like,
oh, okay. Because last year it did 21-21.
Yeah.
Which is actually less than I thought it was.
Which I don't know, like with a decent walk up, I feel like maybe they could have come close to that.
Yeah, it's certainly not impossible they could have matched last. So
because obviously they had I'm very likely literally zero walk up.
That's not a bad no walk up. So we start off with a 3-way match. Alejandro beat Tadasuke, or 4-way match. Sorry, Alejandro defeated Tadasuke, Hajime Ohara, and Super Crazy with 6-0 and 604 with the Sky Twister press from Alejandro on Crazy. It was whatever.
Yeah, it was an opener that happened, and I basically don't really remember a whole lot about it, to be honest.
Masa Kitamiya defeated Junta.
Except that, sorry, just for quick, that Porolov kind of wrote this in wrongly because they wrote it as a freeway match when it's a four-way match. But that's yeah.
Masa Kitamiya defeated Junta Miyawaka in 707 with the side of suplex. Honestly, it was a fun little squash.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of given up on Junta, so you know what, squash them, and if they're fun squashes like this, sure, why not?
Yeah. And then Titus Alexander, Raihoyo Iwa, and Kai Fujimura defeated Jack Morris, Uka Sasaki, and Yu Owada in 13:36. The Big Ugly from Alexander on Owada. Very good match, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a really fun, like,
one of the best
tag
of the show, really.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I was like, oh man, okay, cool. Like, third match from the top, that was pretty good. Maybe we're cooking with the show, and then yeah, I mean, there were like 2 more good matches, so that's at least something. Well, 4 more maybe.
Manabusori and Tavion Heights defeated Kazuki Fujita and Yoshitatsu in 11:01 with the Heights bomb from Heights on Yoshitatsu. I completely love this. Well, okay, so Heights and Fujita grappling was awesome,
mm-hmm.
And then like Yoshitatsu worked strangely hard in this.
Maybe he has something to prove. Maybe he wants a job.
Somebody, yeah, exactly right. So I mean, I'm not saying that it was amazing or great or anything, but I enjoed it for what it was, and Heights gets a win on his way. And then it was Takumi Aroha
on his way to retirement.
Yeah, on his way to retirement. Takumi Aroha, Great Sakuya, and Miyuki Takase and Sandra Moon defeated Koki Amarai, Miku Aono, Bozilla, and Kazuna Tanaka in 13:49 with the running knee from Aroha on Tanaka. This was not the other Marigold versus Marvelous match that they had at Wrestle.
Nope, it really wasn't. I don't even know what this was supposed to be.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of green wrestlers in this. Too.
Yeah.
You know, Kazuna Tanaka's Minoru Tanaka's daughter.
Yeah, I did know that actually, but she seems. I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of her father in her. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see how she develops. Biggest spot of the match, obviously, Bozilla getting misted by the Great Sakuya.
I would say that this was a better use of Sakuya than other times. I don't know. Maybe I'm turning the corner, using them differently.
Oh yeah, did you see that there's already rumors of like Bozilla going to WWE? I'm
not surprised.
I mean, I'm not either, but like, my God, that's way too fucked. That's like 2 years too early.
Yes, I think there's a lot of advantages now to actually holding out before.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally only been in Marigold for like, what, 3 months? Like, she's been in Japan for like, when did Marigold start?
Was it March or May?
May, I think. So yeah, like 4 months basically.
Yeah.
Wait, no, should definitely gain more seasoning. Obviously talented, but like, I think in this match as well, it's like, if she's in there with like a lot of other people that are very green, like, it shows a lot.
And then we had Josh Briggs defeated Yoshiki Inamura in 12:26 the Lariat. This was
just... Yeah.
Inamura finished the tournament with 6 points after his triumphant return where he main evented the Budokan. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm about ready to like throw in the towel on Inamura, at least in Noah. Like, maybe he should just go somewhere else, because it's very clear they don't give a shit about him. You know what this actually reminded me of, weirdly?
Why did he get that big main event then?
Yeah, but then they completely changed his gimmick immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
So do they see that as a failure, I guess? Because you know what this whole like series of events reminds me of? Because we've already gone through this, basically. Because this reminds me completely of what happened to like Yoshiki and what happened to Junta Miyawaki when he came back from Excursion.
Yes, it was.
Right, he comes back with a new, fresh look. He has like a big title match. He looks good in a title match, and then they change. Like, the order of events is slightly different, obviously, because then they sent him on this excursion, alleged second excursion. He comes back with a shit look, and like, they just completely like not push him at all. Whereas with Inamura, he comes in with a big new fresh look and new name even, and he has a big title match. He looks really good there. And then he comes into the N1, promises that he's not going to loses his first match, is basically a complete non-factor in the tournament. His look is like changed as well. He's back to being Yoshiki Inamura, and now they're sending him back on excursion. Only this one is actually real because we know he's been announced for matches.
Yeah. So you think he's winning the Progress title?
No, No, Masa Kitamiya is winning the Progress title.
Oh, sorry, I totally confused with that. Yeah.
Because basically they changed that match into a freeway because it was supposed to be Luke Jacobs versus Masa Kitamiya, which would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Yoshiki Inamura versus Luke Jacobs would have been awesome as a singles match.
Yeah.
So they changed it to a freeway, and to me, that kind of telegraphs that like Kitamiya is going to pin Inamura, and then he's going to drop it back to Jacobs in October at the show at the WXW World Tag Fest. So you know what? If that gets me a like Masa Kitamiya versus Luke Jacobs singles match, I'll take it. But yeah, we'll see.
This is I mean, this is really deflating.
Yeah, no, I get that, like, and I feel like this is really the thing that triggered, like, everybody's, like, I think this more than anything else really triggered everybody's, like, doom and gloom, right?
Well, there was also a mention of the company burying everyone.
Yes, that didn't help, but, like, this was really the thing, like, one thing Noah needs more than anything is, like, fresh, new people on top. And they just completely refused to do that during the tournament. Like for example, like I think Olga Sasaki like did really well during the tournament, but it's not like he like was pushed incredibly hard. Like he's a champion and he barely got any points in the tournament.
Yeah,
like he technically holds like the second most important singles title in the company, and he barely got any points.
I should also remind you at this point, the show was like 4.5 hours long, and this is when it really began to drag.
Oh yeah, that didn't help either.
Oh my god!
Because they drew such a bad crowd, that was also not. They were fine at times, but like at sometimes it was also very noticeable how empty the building was.
Yeah. So honestly, next we had, and I'll say this, I would put this on actually. Hio Jr., Galeno Del Mal, and Luis Monte defeated Shun Skywalker, Dragon Bane, and Alpha Wolf in 13:34 when Monte used the Vuelta Finale on Bane. I mean, so yeah, this actually picked up. And this is when the show had a bit of a recovery, I thought.
Yeah, I was like, the show is back on track, basically. I'm like, okay, this, because I was like, went into them and I was like, okay, this is going to be really good, and it was really good. I really hope that this is like the start for like Galeno Del Mal as like a permanent guy, because it very much seems like Wagner is on his way out.
Well, so is Wagner going to go on his way out without his brother?
Yeah, I think that's basically the replacement. Because his brother, he's so much younger as well.
Yeah, he's like 22, 23, and he needs like more seasoning. But I don't know. I thought maybe they'd stick together.
I mean, they haven't really done it even that much, right? Like, because we were always complaining, it's like, why is Galeno Del Mal in like great when his brother is like a main eventing in Noah? So I don't feel like, as opposed to like the Golpeadores, I don't think like Galeno and like Wagner are really like that much tied at the hip. So I do think it actually makes sense that basically Wagner's like, yeah, I'm leaving, but like you can have my like fucking freak of a man brother, basically. Which, you know what? I'm sad to see Wagner go, like if he actually leaves, which I have a strong feeling he is. At least we have Galenos. At least we have something to replace him, essentially.
Yeah. Next up, GHC Tag Team title. Naomichi Marufuji and Takashi Sugiura defeated Akitoshi Saito and Mohamed Yone in 1954 by referee stop, with Sugiura getting Saito in the front net lock. They make second defense of the titles. Look, Paul, this went too long, but honestly, in this show, I put this in the upper half of the matches just because I do enjoy the old men stiffing each other.
Yes, no, I did enjoy like old man violence. I did love the Mohamed Yone snapping and just beating the shit out of people whenever it happens.
He has had a sneaky good year.
He really has. Yeah, I mean,
for what he was the last few.
Yeah, he seemed really motivated with this whole Team Noah thing.
Definitely underrated, I would say. He falls into that one, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He definitely had an underrated year. But I do agree, you can probably like shave like 5 minutes off of this match and it's much better. But I did enjoy, like, as you said, like the old man violence for what it was.
Yeah. And this is where things start to fall apart again.
Oh, they really fell apart for the next two matches.
GHC Junior Heavyweight title, Daga defeated Amaska in 17-12 with the Diablo Wings. And Amaska fails on his first defense and drops the title right back to Daga.
So fucking
this
stupid.
wasn't like a horrible match, but it was just sort of there, like 3 stars, fine enough. But like the booking is incredibly.
Yeah, it's just indefensible. Like I said, I think Daga's reign, I think it exceeded expectations. I think it exceeded everybody's expectations. I think
now you're getting long in the tooth.
Yeah, because he's beaten everybody. Like he's already beat, because he already had a problem. Basically, he had already ran for everybody, and it was clear that they were just biding time until Amaxa came back from injury, and he lost the title to him. And I'm like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. It doesn't make sense for Amaxa to just immediately drop the title back to Daga because, well, who the fuck is Daga gonna face now?
Yeah.
Like, I guess we're going back to Ed. I think I have a suspicion that this is gonna like lead back to them doing a rematch between him and Eita at the New Year show.
And then Eita winning?
Yeah, and Eita actually winning it. Because remember for that show when we were talking about it beforehand, I was like basically being like almost like 100% certain that Eita was gonna win that one, and he didn't. Mm-hmm. And I guess maybe that's what, because I don't know what else we're doing, basically. Because this division is also so absurdly thin now.
Yeah. And going back to its dumbest tropes.
Yeah. I mean, we're literally going back to Rattel's.
Speaking of which, in the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title, Hayata and Yohei defeated Shuji Kondo and Eita. The champion.
What faction is that, Gerard?
I don't fucking know.
No. I mean, what faction are Hayata and Yohei in? Say the name.
Yeah. I thought you meant Kondo and Eita.
No. They're whatever. Who gives a shit? The RED leftovers.
Yeah. In 1914, with the headache from Hayata on Eita, and they fall on their second defense. I mean, this just went too long. I thought the finishing sequence was fine. It was decent, but just way too.
No, it was a classic. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. It's what you all meant as well, right? Like just going back to like their worst impulses. It's just these like endless Hayata like title matches that just are just incredibly unappealing with nothing really happening. And yeah, we're just straight back there and just kind of stuck there forever, it feels like. And now he's dragging down Yohei and probably Tadasuke as well, who were having a really good year as a tag team. And yeah.
And all right, we got a Harada appearance though.
Yeah. I was like, Loki is like, oh, maybe he did magically fix his neck because my God, this division needs that. But yeah, it doesn't look like it. But at least we got a new member of the junior division. At least we got something.
Who?
What's his face? The Osaka guy, the Dotonbori guy. Because they had a promo after the match, basically, right, where they introduced the new Rattel's member.
Was it
yeah, I think that's his name, yeah.
Right, yes. I mean,
because he was on the Limit Break shows as well.
He's been on, the Limit Break shows. They sort of liked him like that. I'm like, but he also has Rattel's vibes.
No, he fits I don't fault them putting that guy in Rattel's because he very much looks like a Rattel's guy. But he's also like 25, so I think there's at least something there. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Oh no, I enjoyed him in the Limit like that. Mm-hmm. And then in the main event, N1 final / GHC heavyweight title, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Keno in 25:09 with a arm drag to retain the title in his third defense and win the N1 victory. You know what? I'll tell you this. I actually don't have a problem with Kiyomiya winning this tournament as a champion because we're sort of in the we need to rebuild Kiyomiya stage. So that's perfectly fine for him to win this tournament as the champion. But what I did not like was that they did it with Keno again, even though that they promised that they were not going to do Keno versus Kiyomiya again, at least for a long time. But they had to, which you think was injury related.
Yeah, I also agree with you that they should have just done Soya instead. But for some reason they just, why the fuck did he get in this good a shape? I don't know, whatever.
But if this was a response to the injuries, then to me that tells me that I don't think that Soya is some other kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But then why the fuck did he get in this good a shape?
I don't know.
Whatever. But yeah, it seems like they don't see him as that kind of guy, and that's why they went for Keno.
He very well may. He's the kind of guy that you go to when.
Because he's an established draw. You can just kind of plug him in there. He has an established feud with Kaito. Like, it does make sense if you're just kind of just fucked because of all of the injuries.
Yep.
But yeah, I also agree with you, like that it was just not great because they did just do the whole shebang, like literally this year of like, this is the last time Kaito and Keno will ever face each other. And then you literally go back on that. Like we all knew that that was not true, right?
No, but I
Like
thought they
that
were
was always
off for a
obvious.
while.
Yeah. But at least you have to like not do that match for like more than like, because when was that match? That was in like May. So like you have to at least stick with it for like half a year or like a year or like a year and a half. Like you really build anticipation for the match, and that just wasn't the thing at all. Like the other weird thing is that they build anticipation at the beginning of a tournament for like a final. Like if you want to have Kaito go to the finals, like for him was Zoiwa, but then they didn't do that either. Like there were so many. Like Kaito and Keno is like literally one of my favorite pairings in terms of like wrestling. Like I actually love. Like I think they're amazing whenever they go in there, with one exception. But even I was like, I don't know, that's a really uninspired final. It's Kaito versus Keno. Like just I don't know. I know that it had to be rebooked, but I felt like Noah should have maybe gone a little bit more crazy here than that. Like literally like burn away yet again a match that is like is one that you can draw with. But I feel like they should have been just gone a bit more crazy and just I would have done Kaito Soya personally. Maybe I would have even gone back to like, or I would have done like, I don't know. I mean, Kaito, like, because the problem now is, right, if you want to have Kaito win, then obviously it needs to be someone in the final against Kaito. Can't do Inamura then in that case, because Inamura, right, just lost to Kaito, so he can't do that. So it had to be someone coming out of that block that can lose to Kaito. But again, Soya is just the obvious pick for me there. And that's not really a match they've ever done, right?
Mm-hmm. I know. Well, the match itself I thought was pretty great. Not their best, but still very strong. And then had the ending, which deflated the crowd. It didn't look like the worst thing ever, but it probably just was I don't know, like he
Not
had
in the
already,
final.
not in the final. He had already hit like 2 Shining Wizards on Keno at this point, like that. And then of course afterwards Ogawa buried it. He buried Kiyomiya for copying people too much, which is also not just doing the tribute to Ogawa arm drag into like a cradle victory, but also like the Muto cosplay, or not cosplay, but the Muto mannerisms and moves. And he also said Oiwa would be better than Kiyomiya if Oiwa sticks around in Noah for.
I mean, it's not that Ogawa really said anything that is untrue. Well, maybe the Oiwa thing.
No
I don't
lies detected meme.
No, it is, but it's kind of unprofessional, isn't it?
He's
Like,
don't give a shit.
he is an old crotchety dude, but it's also like, I don't know, it's just kind of, to me, it's bad form to just bury the guy at the final on commentary after you just retired. It's kind of shit.
Well, that's well, that just adds to the overall like poor atmosphere that is Noah right now.
Yeah. I mean, but again, we should also reiterate the finish. Yes, it was weird, but also it was the finish because it was a very obvious, march to Ogawa. Like that was the intended finish. Now the crowd also didn't really pick up on it. That's the problem. But
no, it didn't. And so that's the end one. Tournament sort of fell apart is a strong word. But
it kind of did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think the general energy levels before the tournament and after the tournament are basically completely reversed.
Yeah.
Because I think before, and I think like a lot of people, like us included, were like pretty excited for Noah in general. And like coming out of this show, it's okay. Some people go like, oh, this is like the lowest, like it's over. But it's like, I don't even think this is the lowest we've been on Noah in the last 12 months. Because I feel like the vibes were even worse like in December last year. Because that was dire, because there was just nothing.
Yeah, but it's true. But also, I thought Noah was the best promotion up to then one. And then
True.
I was like, how shall I put this? I was starting to get like bad vibes about All Japan. And I will say that my bad vibes have been somewhat reversed. But also, slightly because of just how far Noah fell very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see where they go from
Also,
here.
Dan had some young guys and stuff.
Yes, I think that's just Noah's. I mean, but that's the problem, right? And that's been their problem for a while, and there's really no easy fix for that unless you like go and poach people.
Yeah. So we should mention real quick preview the show this on Saturday, September 14th, after they get back from the UK tour, because we got Yu Owada versus the debuting Daiki Odashima. But I have to say, and I don't want to like pigeonhole this guy too early in his career, but Paul, he's Yasutaka Yano sized.
Oh, he's the
Like
junior. He's absolutely a junior. He's tiny.
He's
Yeah.
165 centimeters.
No,
But
he's
new juniors
100% a junior.
They need new juniors as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like they almost need more new juniors than they need. Like they desperately need new heavyweights, but they need new juniors even more. Like if you actually look at that junior division, there's not a lot there. It's basically half of it is in like one match on the current show.
Yeah. I mean, they still look. They got I say they have Inamura, but who knows what they're going to do with them? But they still do have Ozawa, and they've also got Owada.
Yeah, they like I said, there is stuff on the horizon, so that's why I'm like it's not completely hopeless. But I do think they act. I think we talked about this before. I think it's time for Great to die.
Yeah, probably. It might not for a while though.
Yeah,
It might not.
but my God, Noah, they would desperately need just like get a bunch of people from there.
And then so we got Shuji Kondo and Ada versus Shuhei Taniguchi and Kai Fujimura. I wonder who's doing the job. And then we got Naomichi Marufuji, Takashi Sugiura, Masa Kitamiya versus Keno, Alejandro, and the returning Crystal Ball. He's back.
Yeah, whoever he is. I think there's like all kinds of like things floating around now who he is. We definitely need to know it's not Yasutaka Yano because he was actually working under a mask in Mexico.
I don't understand why he would even unmask, but that's it.
I mean, the people in Mexico don't give a shit. So I don't even know why he like wore a mask for like 6 months. But
it's Mexico. You can just wear a mask too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, so we've got another 6-man. Alhio Dr. Wagner Jr., Galeno Del Mal, and Daga versus Dragon, Bane, Alpha Wolf, and Super Crazy. And then we have
why not?
The first new Rattel's 8-man tag. Hayata, Yohei, Tadasuke, and Yuto Kikuchi versus Amaska. Atsushi Katoge is back. Hajime Ohara and Junta Miyawaki.
Yeah, I wonder who's doing the job in that one.
GHC National
or is Yuto Kikuchi turning on Hayata?
Oh, and they turf Hayata?
I mean, Hayata didn't really seem happy about Kikuchi being added to the faction, right?
Right.
And this is Rattel's, so
yeah.
We've already gone like above their average number of matches in between turns.
Well, look, if they turf Hayata out of it right away, they could make a new faction.
Oh God, yeah, actually that would improve it so much. Add Kotoga back in, why not?
Okay, so listed as a semi-main event, GHC national title. You got Uka Sasaki versus Manabu Soya. Paul, I think Sasaki's retained.
Yeah.
Which also means I don't know. They're not going to do anything with Soya.
No. Yeah. That's again, that's why I'm like, why did he get in such good shape? Because we were like, well, there's no way he's like they're not going to do anything with him because he got an amazing shape. So very clearly they have plans and then they didn't.
I mean, he's 40. He just wants to get in good shape to prolong his career.
I mean, he did also just get married. Maybe his wife was like, okay, drop some pounds. Or like put him on a different, she might have put him on a different diet too.
Yes.
But which is steroids.
And then I have some criticism of this. Raihoe Oiwa's last match in Noah is just a singles match in Korakuen.
Yeah.
Weeks later, Kaito Kiyomiya versus Raihoe Oiwa. You could have I don't know, maybe back, but you could have done a bigger venue for the title.
Yeah.
I just think so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very weird. Like, it's weird that it's not even a title match because they was very clearly set it up, right? Like, they set up very clearly like a match between them, and I just don't get why it's not a title match. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then on September 28th, we've got a limit break at Yokohama Radiant Hall. We've got here Tetsuya Endo and Yuki Ino versus Kai Fujimura and Kohei Kinoshita. We got Kazuyuki Fujita and Yu Owada versus Suji Ishikawa and Yoshitatsu. If there's any justice in this world, Owada pins Yoshitatsu. We have Team Noah versus Team DDT here with Go Shiozaki will be back. Akitoshi Saito, Muhammad Yone, and Atsushi Katoge versus Jun Akiyama, Yukio Naya, Tonomitsu Matsunaga, and Haruto Ki. And that's all that's announced for that show. Just those 3 matches. But it's good to see Go back.
Which I was not certain how that was going to go based on his injury, but seems like he got over pretty well.
Kept him out of the N1.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, as much as we missed him. And we really did miss him.
Yeah, definitely. But absolutely, like, it would have been a massive mistake to have him in the tournament. Like, that could have gone real bad. If things would have gone bad, they would have gone extremely bad. And I can do without that. Definitely, then there's very well deserved doom and gloom around Noah, because that's like second time a guy has died in their ring.
So that's Noah. How the mighty have fallen. I just like, I made the wise decision of not watching the N1 finals live because I watched the All Japan show live and just went to bed. First of all, that N1 show would have ended at 7:30 a.m. my time. And
I watched the N1 show live because the All Japan show kept crashing on the thing I used to stream it to the browser, to the TV.
Okay. So, well, I was for the best, because then I could fast forward between like that. So we go. Okay, so first off, the big news in All Japan: Suwama is out for now, at least for the next month, because of dizziness. We don't really know what's causing it. I mean, what's the crystal thing? That's crystal disease or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it could be loads of different things.
It could be loads of different
dizziness.
things.
It could be incredibly serious. It could be actually nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. My only thing that raised my eyebrow was on this Fukuoka show. They were doing like a full blown Suwama tribute act here. He was in evolution trunks, and they did the power bomb spot, but they get backdropped, and then Suzuki went with a backdrop hold. So
yeah, who knows what maybe it's just literally like them just I for now I wouldn't take it too seriously just yet.
So we go back to August 17th at the arena Tachikawa Tachihi in front of 2,031 fans, which, Paul, I think is a pretty good number.
Yeah, it's a 3,000 seat arena, so you sold it out 2/3.
Yeah, and this is the arena on the western, sort of in the western edge of Tokyo. So
you were up against the G1 final as well.
Yep, and 2,000 fans without Kento Miyahara in the main event.
So I think this is really good.
Gaor TV title, Fuminori Abe defeated Seigo Tachibana in 11:08 with the horizontal cradle to make his first defensive title. I mean, obviously there's a lot of comedy in here, but another solid match. Not even just solid, pretty good match from Abe and Tachibana just continues to be the sort of undercard MVP of All Japan this year.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Yone having an underrated year, but Tachibana is although I feel people are actually kind of starting to be aware of how good his year has actually been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he continued that here. Just him and have I talked about? Oh yeah, wait, I already talked about it, right? That they announced Thatcher versus Abe literally the day after I booked my train ticket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, still definitely continued his incredibly really good year. And I hope he continues it, but seems like they're giving him at least more it definitely seems like they're not really willing to push Tachibana, obviously, but they're always keeping him in notable things, right? He's not just kind of there. He actually is involved in main things essentially, or he's involved in stuff basically. He's not just kind of wrestling on the roster.
Yeah. And then the three-way match, we got Mr. Saito Nukidoi and Senor Saito defeating Kaoru Sato and Masashi Takeda and Shitaro Ashino and Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan in 10:06 with the horizontal cradle from Doi on Kuroshio. This was heavy comedy and everything like that. It was what it was. And then Alpida versus Hokutogun. We got Ryuki Honda, Brenda Ayabe, and Rising Hayato defeating Kuma Arashi, Harley Jackson, and Jack Kennedy. The death roulette on Ayabe from Arashi. This was a perfectly fine match. I do still enjoy Hokuto Gun, except for one thing that I will talk about. But that was fine. Ollie's tag title match. Musashi and Seki Yoshioka defeated Dan Tamura and Ryo Inoue in 1648 with the magistral from Yoshioka on Tamura to make their second defense of the title. I thought that this was sort of dull for a lot of it, and the last 2 minutes were good, but this sort of like undershot what I was expecting out of these.
Oh yeah, I was very disappointed with this because I was like going into it and I had this kind of like earmarked like to potentially be like the second best match on the show, right? Like I was like, it had that potential for me. And it just didn't get there at all. Like I don't think it was bad, but I was also like, they just never really went to like another gear. Like they just wrestled a perfectly acceptable match and then it kind of just ended.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was definitely disappointed with this one. I expected a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. And then All Japan versus Hokuto Gun. And I did not like this. Kenta Miyahara and David Boy Smith Jr. defeated Hokuto, Oryx, and Cyrus in 15 minutes with a shutdown suplex hold on Miyahara. So before the match, Hokuto Gun tried to get Smith to join. He refused. Then there was a ref bump, and then they all attacked Kento. And it looked like Davey Boy was going to join Hokuto Gun. Then he said he would join, and then he gave like Cyrus and Hokuto backdrops, and then he pinned. And then he hit the Bulldog Bomb on Omori, and then Miyahara pinned Omori with the shutdown German suplex. I don't like the ref bumps. I don't like this stupid drawn out heel angle. I don't need. You can rationalize that actually House of Torture is good, but no, I don't want this anywhere near here in All Japan. We already went through.
This felt like an angle that would have been fit better in like MLW, which probably thought of that because of Davey Boy, but yeah, this was just felt completely out of place. It was very weird.
Yeah. I feel like I hope this was just a one and done thing, just to get over the Smith as a babyface. Not that I love it, but I like if it keeps happening, then I will turn on Hokuto Gun very hard.
Yeah. But yeah, we shall see what they. I mean, they haven't really done anything like it since. I mean, not that there were many shows, but still.
No. And before, really.
Yeah.
And then for the World Tag Team titles, Jun Saito and Rei Saito defeated Suwama in 1733 with a jackhammer from Jun on Suwama for making third defense. I mean, this is better than their other match where the Saitos won back the tag titles, but still wasn't that great.
No. Yeah, Suwama and Hideki, to me, are just a team that just does not work at all. Just very literally like less than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
The Saitos, I think, did well here with what they were given, but yeah, I like Suwama and Hideki just don't have any chemistry. Like I think that's really the main issue. That's just no juice.
Well, the part is that the chemistry is just them bickering.
Yeah, exactly. Like there isn't any chemistry in terms of like the actual in-ring wrestling, which is weird because in theory they actually have styles that would complement each other pretty well, but then that it just doesn't come through at all during the actual matches. And then all the crowds also generally aren't really very interested in their matches either. Like they're interested in the bickering and they were interested in the Saitos, but they weren't really interested in like otherwise in like what Suwama and Hideki were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, disappointing. I hope this team is just over now.
In the main event for the Triple Crown, Yuma Aoyagi defeated Yuma Ansai in 26-41 with The Fool to win the title, and Ansai fails on his sixth defense. Yuma Aoyagi is the 73rd Triple. I don't know what's going on with Yuma Aoyagi these days. I mean, this had a pretty good closing stretch, except for that botched GTS. But the first half of this match was just lifeless.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he's kind of, I don't know, because it kind of had that same issue as well with the Kento match as well, where
the first half of this was better than the first half of the Kento.
Yeah, it seems like Yuma is kind of just relying on the fact that he's really, really good at these closing stretches, which he still is. Like he's still amazing at those, but then he just kind of seems to have just given up on the first half of the match, and it's just like, I don't need to work hard here. I can just get them back with the closing stretch anyway. But it's weird.
He's trying to tailor his style to be more champion-like and less of his lovable fool.
Might be, but I don't know. Like because that's like, for example, like an accusation people have long made for like Okada as well. But I do think this is much like what Yuma is doing, right? What Yuma Aoyagi is doing right now is much more like actually doing what people were accusing Okada of doing for like 10 years in New Japan, where he just kind of didn't do anything really in the first half of both of those matches.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not. I mean, obviously because he went against two of the best guys in the company, so that's not encouraging. But I mean, he is still a really, really, really fucking good wrestler. So it's concerning, but I think we can still give him a little bit more time to see if this is actually a permanent thing or just a weird performance like in the first two matches of his new reign, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't have that, like, because I felt he felt perfectly like wrestling like a champion in his first reign. Like, I think he nailed that one.
Yeah.
So it's very weird that he feels like he needs to change the style, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just let's see where this goes. I suppose. I don't think this is like a disaster, or anything.
Yeah,
But
it's concerning because again, it's against Anzai and Kento, who are like two of the best people in the company. So if it happens against those, then what happens if you're facing like Rei Saito?
What I think is that
or Davey Boy Smith.
I believe one way or another that whoever's winning this Odo tournament is going to be a physically larger wrestler than and Aoyagi can work from below, which he's better at.
Yeah, which fair enough actually. Yeah. So we'll see if he kind of gets back on track in his next title defense, but it was two weird matches back to back, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so Paul, did you watch anything from the show on the 31st in Hiroshima?
I completely forgot the show happened. Like, I was literally, when I just looked at the run sheet, I'm like, oh yeah, I have completely forgotten that this was a show. No, I didn't watch it.
Paul, I only watched one match from this show. Can you guess which match it was?
Was it the Gayora TV title match?
No, actually. I don't want to. I was like, Ray Paloma, no.
Come on, the honorary member of Evolution.
I guarantee it was 100% or like 80% comedy.
Yes.
I watched.
Wait. Okay. One more guess. Was it the time limit draw between Musashi, Seiki Yoshioka versus Sato and Yuko Miyamoto?
Nope.
Okay.
It was Ryuki Honda versus Jack Kennedy.
Okay, that probably would have been the last one. I probably would have read up all of the other matches first before I would have come to that one.
No, I wanted to see it because I wanted to see Kennedy against Honda in the singles match to see what Kennedy had. It was a perfectly acceptable opening match, and I think that he's worth. He needs more reps, but he's worth keeping around.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that like a guy that looks a bit rough on his first couple outings in Japan improves significantly with time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, Luis Mante, like as Diamante, was dog shit when he came to Japan. He was bad, and then he became great.
So we move on to the next day on September 1st at Fukuoka Island City Forum in front of 1,013 fans. Was Fukuoka also under the typhoon warning?
So the thing is, the typhoon was there, but it was there basically a couple of days before. So like it had already passed for like, because it moved pretty slowly. So basically Fukuoka was like that, like the typhoon was there, but it was like 2 or 3 days before the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I don't know. They didn't say this was a no vacancy or anything. So I don't know. Even Kento's still simply not as big of a draw in his hometown.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000 fans outside of Tokyo is good for all Japan, no matter how you cut it. But I kind of expected a little more than this.
I mean, they also, well, to be fair, but Fukuoka actually gets, like, they get a lot of wrestling shows from Kyushu Pro.
Yeah, they do.
So and Kyushu Pro also, right, like sells, like has incredibly low ticket prices because they basically get like financed through like grants from the local government.
Yeah.
So this might have also been a case of like, I could spend more money on All Japan, or I could just go to the next Kyushu Pro and pay like half the price.
Yeah, totally. So we start off with the All Asia Tag Team title. Saki Yoshioka and Musashi, Kuminori Abe and Seigo Tachibana in 13-19 with the Niten Ichiru from Musashi on Tachibana. A good little match. There was a decent amount of comedy in here, but it was definitely better than the other All Asia match. And I think Yoshioka and Musashi, for the most part, though, are still having a pretty good.
Yeah, no, I would say so as well. I thought it was a decent match overall. I also maybe expected a little bit more out of this one. just because of like the 4 men involved in there. But I definitely agree that it was a lot better than the match they had with Dan and Inoue. But
And
again,
then,
still a little bit disappointed.
okay. And then Shotaro Ashino and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan defeated Hartley Jackson, Jack Kennedy in 10:31. Thank God, with an ankle lock of Ashino on Kennedy. I'm not gonna lie, Paul. In the back of my head, I was like, Jack is good.
To be fair, I actually missed the finish of the match. And then I was surprised to actually hear "Give me fuel, give me fire." I was like, "Oh wait, they what?" Cool.
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. There wasn't much to it, honestly. And the thing was like Kuroshi. It was like Jiro doing his like comedy with the much opponents like Jackson and that kind of thing. There was nothing really much to this.
Mhm.
And then
What was the whole thing with like that one screaming fan though? I didn't get that part.
they were screaming for Hartley, and then
Oh, that's why Jiro was just like, "Why would you cheer for Hartley?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
They found the only 0-1 fan in Fuku. And then we had Hideki Suzuki, Hikaru Sato, and Yuko Miyamoto defeating Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, and Cyrus in 7-12 with the backdrop hold from Suzuki on Omori, as I mentioned earlier. So Yuko Miyamoto is replacing Suwama on all shows in September, including in the so
yeah, I mean, solid.
I mean, he's a good veteran hand.
Mm-hmm.
But,
you could definitely do worse than that.
Oh, absolutely. But I will just say this: if Suwama's absence is turning into something longer term, I would hope that they would look for like a young guy to stick in there for a chance.
Yeah, yeah,
like
for sure.
Anyone. So Demanchi. I don't know what the politics of that are, but God, I would love him in all Japan.
Yeah, that would be great. Like Yu Aoki, although he's still the champion in Big Japan.
Yeah.
Maybe you can try and bring back Takuya Nomura. Although I feel like they tried to poach him and Big Japan didn't like that.
Yeah. There's young or anyone, Airo Yoshida, Koki Iwasaki, Toa Iwasaki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The list goes of like young guys that are like good in that role. This was really nothing match. This was like the Suwama tribute thing that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yuma Anzai and Rising Hatter defeated Davey Smith Jr. and Dan Tammer in 10:34 with the gimlet from Anzai and Tammer. Look, I gotta say, I think Anzai and Smith have really good chemistry.
Yeah. I mean, Anzai is also really good as like a guy working against bigger. Like, I think that's become really apparent. Like with him working with like Ray and everything, that he's just really good as like facing off against guys that are bigger than him. And there aren't that many guys that are bigger than him because he is a big boy.
He could probably put on a few pounds though too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But was it weird though that they came out to Rising Hayato's music?
Oh, they did. Yeah, I don't know.
It was weird, but yeah, nothing major. It was just kind of odd.
And then for the PWF World Junior Heavyweight title, Mr. Sato Nurkidoe defeated Ryo Inoue in 11:21 with the Bakatari sliding kick for second defense of the title. Paul, this is pretty darn good. And I expected Inoue to step up, and he totally did. It was awesome because like he attacked Doi at the bell and everything like that. He got some ass kicking, right? He really did look like a threat.
Yeah, like he showed some fight. Like he seemed like a guy that knew like, okay, this is my chance to like really show what I can do. And I think he took that chance by the balls and just showed that, yeah, no, I know there's a Rising Hayato here. I know that there's like Atsuki's gonna come back eventually. But I'm here too, and I want to be like a big part of this junior division going forward.
And another feather in Doi's cap for 2024.
Yeah. I think the Allen argument for like that he has a Wrestler of the Year case, I think it's gaining. I'm coming around to that.
And then next up for the World Tag Team titles, Jun Saito and Rei Saito defeated Ryuki Honda and Rena Abe in 1843 with the Psycho Break from June on Honda for their fourth defense. Okay, so I ran a multiple gamut of emotions. First, I thought this started off slow, and then I thought it got better. And I thought that the last bit of the match with Honda and June was really good, actually. Great kickouts and near falls. Just two big guys just throwing each other around. Ayabe, he is trying harder, but he still lacks the fire.
Yeah.
Like I think he's getting better, but he still lacks the fire. So that's sort of my thoughts on this match. I don't know what you.
No, I fully agree as well. It was like I think there is a risk that Ren is gonna become like Jake 2.0, basically.
Oh God.
Right? Because
I'm
he's
not even sure he'll be
tall.
as good as Jake.
Yeah. Because he's
Well,
tall.
Jake wasn't really great till like what, 2017, 2018?
Yeah, he was actually really bad early on.
Yeah.
But because he's tall, he's gonna get chances, chance after chance, basically. Yeah, I agree. He is trying harder, but with the fire, sometimes guys just do not have it. Some guys can develop it, but some guys just don't have it, and they'll never develop it. And I'm still holding out hope that Ren isn't that kind of guy, but there is definitely a danger that he is that kind of guy, and yeah, we'll see. It's not encouraging that in this first like big title match didn't really bring the fire, because I think that would have been a perfect like opportunity for him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not yet ready to like give up either. I think it's way too early for that, but there's definitely some concerns that I have with Ren Ayabe, and we'll see if those become true over like the next like year or so, or if he can actually like, because I mean it's also weird that he like, because he's in a faction with a bunch of guys that are all who are all actually really good at having the fire, right? Like that's the weird thing. He's in with a bunch of guys
charismatic than him.
Yeah, but you'd think maybe that's my hope, is like that eventually that just kind of rubs off on him, just by like osmosis.
I'd even argue that Anzai needs to show a little more fire sometimes, but it's still night and day if you actually compare to Abe,
Yeah, Honda's really good at it though.
Yeah, of course, yes. So yeah, I mean, I'll remain slightly cautiously optimistic he's getting better. But...
Yeah, no, he definitely is improving. I'm just like, there is definitely a danger that I'm seeing here, because gone through this before, that this just goes the same way, where we're just waiting for him to turn that where it's like, yeah, he's getting better in the ring, but then we're waiting for that final puzzle piece to like fall into place, and it just never does. But
yeah,
we'll see. Like I said, way too early for that to make a definitive statement on that. I'm just concerned.
And then in the main event, the Triple Crown, Yuma Ariake defeat Kento Miyahara in 36 seconds with the Fool to make his first defense of the Triple Crown, and also beat Kento in his hometown.
Yep.
I mean, I thought a couple of days before the show, and with the fact that Kento pinned Yuma in the main event of the show the day before, I was like, Yuma's retained.
Yeah, I mean, my thing was just like, I just didn't expect them to just beat Kento like a drum like this,
Yeah, this is his third straight match where he's lost challenging for the Triple Crown, and 4 straight loss in a Triple Crown match because when he Nagata. So that is interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like, I think we can definitively say that he isn't the ace anymore, because the ace doesn't lose 4 straight like title matches.
No, he doesn't. But it could be for a this could be just one long tortured babyface story, and then he's going to win the title back at December. Like,
he's turning.
He is turning. I mean, he's got some. He got
that heel looking gear. People immediately pointed that out when he came out for the match. I was like, that's heel gear.
So let me ask you this, Paul. Okay, so Kento's not the champion. Kento has just lost the Triple Crown title match. Mm-hmm. What's the main event of December 31st?
I think it would be too early to run Yuma versus Yuma back, right? I mean, that would be a maybe. If Kento turns, you can run it back there.
Yeah.
So that would be a possibility. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would almost think you would have to bring someone in for a show of that level.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise, because with Suwama out, that's like probably not a thing. I think that's way too big to like do Davey Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's way too big of a venue to do Davey Boy.
Well, I'll say this. If they kept Davey Boy completely undefeated, I could.
Yeah.
But that's not.
Could you do like June or Ray as challengers at that show?
If one of them wins.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think maybe we're also kind of like looking at it a bit too much as well, just based on the fact of like the literal like monumental status that they main evented that show with like last year.
I know, but it's their biggest show of the year.
It is the biggest show of the year.
And it'll be the biggest show of their and for them this year, other than I guess the Champion Carnival Finals.
Yeah. Like unless you bring in like an outside, I don't know, like maybe you could do like a Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah.
Like if you really wanted to do something, but then otherwise, yeah, I don't really see what else you can make unless there's like someone returning or jumping to the promotion, and then that's like a big match. But I don't really see that happening.
Where do you put the chances of Miyahara exiting the promotion at the end of the year?
So that was actually going to be my next. So okay, damn it! I thought I was going to surprise you with that talking point because I actually am thinking that as well. I think it's a distinct possibility because they're just beating him like a drum, and I think there is a. And they again, we just talked about it, right? They drew 2,000 people without him in the main event. So it seems like they're in a position now where they can draw big crowds without Miyahara. So if I'm Miyahara, right, I'm like, okay, can I maybe go and earn like a bigger bag somewhere else?
They could do a loser leaves.
Oh, you mean like Kento basically goes, okay, I want one more shot, and if I don't win, I'm leaving the promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. That's something you could do. But where is he going?
Would New Japan take him?
Maybe, but there's one really obvious place for me for him to go.
Noah?
Yeah, because they badly need someone like him.
I would just say that New Japan could afford him.
Yeah.
Because they just posted some really good profits, even though people were claiming that New Japan couldn't do anything because they were broke, which turns out not to be. Now, look, I get that Ospreay and Okada would have broken the bank for them. So they tamed them. But people were then making that excuse for everything that New Japan but couldn't because
I mean, Jake literally said that he earns so much more money in New Japan than he does in Noah.
So I think that all New Japan could afford Kento if they wanted him. Noah would probably be the best fit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, this is pure speculation, mind you.
They need someone that is a draw. Like, but it does feel like that to me, especially because he lost that match. That really made me think that's like, oh, he's clearly not the ace anymore. And if he's not the ace anymore, then what is he really, right?
Yeah.
Just based on the way his character is and everything, that really only works as like the top guy. And if he's not that guy anymore, then what is he?
Well, if he is, I mean, he's probably staying. We don't really have any evidence otherwise other than the results of these matches. But he could also be in that thing where he's going to like, okay, I'm going to take some losses and then evolve my character.
Mm-hmm. No, I do think it's also a distinct possibility that he turns heel.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we talked about this before. Who's the top heel in the promotion? Hokuto Omori?
Oh, Hokuto Omori. Well, technically, Miyahara already is the top heel.
Yeah, I mean, yes, because he's Hulk Hogan, where it's like everybody that ever turned on him was justified. Yes.
Yeah.
But and again, I mean, that's not just like it's literally he said that Hulk Hogan is his favorite wrestler, so it's very obviously he's doing Hogan. I mean, to be fair, that makes me a little bit scared because that means if Kento turns heel, does he want to do like an NWO?
Oh God.
You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, right?
And then he's gonna draw in Savage, aka Yuma Aoyagi.
He is the Randy Savage to Kento Miyahara.
He really is I literally just realized that as the words left my mouth. It's like he really is the Randy Savage to like Kento's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Match itself. Again, I thought the first half of this was weaker than the first Yuma versus Yuma. But Paul, and I'm not alone on this because I was talking to Alan about this, and he agrees. This had one of their best closings, but one of their worst first halves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the very, very beginning was good when they had, the punching and everything. And then, but then there was just nothing for like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes after that. It was I was like, because I watched it later, so I knew already kind of going in that people were like a little bit disappointed with it. And I was like, oh, what? They're having a hot start. And then just immediately after that, I'm like, oh no. Now I get what people mean. Okay, never mind. But I agree, though, that closing stretch was amazing, though. That closing stretch was like, that got me right back into it.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like, and a lot of people, I think also there was some good discussion, the Discord, also from like Henry and Patrick, just about like, Yuma should be working Yuma needs to show more of his like goofy charisma, which it's going to be divisive to some people because they think the champion should be more stoic. And then also like he's better from working in a lot of ways.
Always has been like, I mean, he literally used to be like, he was always great at working from underneath, and his offense was like actively bad early on in his career, and he's gotten a lot better at offense. But he is still very much like a guy that is best when he's working from underneath, which, to be fair, All Japan is a good spot for that because there's loads of really, really big guys that he can work from underneath against.
Yeah, for we'll see where this goes. I certainly wouldn't press a panic button at this. I mean, he's too deep, right?
I mean, it's not like the two matches were bad, right? Like, were just like weirdly disappointing first half and then great closing stretches. So they're still really good matches.
Well, I suppose in a lot of ways, okay, Anzai and Yuma versus Yuma, not really done before, but to me, like going back to Miyahara and Aoyagi again and having that was jarring because of all they've had in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for that one, it's because it was such a like amazing like if you just compare this match to the match they had like pretty much exactly a year ago. Not pretty much, but like a couple of months off. Yeah, last October. So like that match I thought was much better than they had this year, but still like it was still like I think it's also a little bit of a victim of like incredibly high expectations, obviously.
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, we shall see if this is a permanent trend with Yuma Aoyagi, or like I said, just a weird two punch for like him not having good ideas. Maybe the reaction internally is also like, yeah, okay, maybe we need to like do things a bit differently in your matches. This didn't really work for both of those matches. Let's try something different next time.
Yeah, for sure. So that we go to sort of doing the Odo tournament real quick with they opened the show on the 14th of September at Nagoya International Conference Hall, which strangely enough has been the site of the finals in the past, but no, the tournament. And that show has Hideki Suzuki and Hikaru Sato versus Fuminori Abe and Hiroki Murase, who you may remember as Udamaro from the Purple Haze days. And then we've got
Bring back Purple Haze.
Yes. Hokuto Gun versus the Sato brothers. Jun Sato, Rei Sato, Mr. Sato, Naruki Doi, and Senor Sato versus Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, Cyrus, and Jack Kennedy. And then we have Kento Miyahara, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Ryo Inoue versus Yuma Anzai, Ren Ayabe, and Rising Hayato. And Musashi and Seki Yoshioka defend the All Asia Tag Team titles against Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana. And then in the Odo tournament, we've got Shitaro Ashino versus Dan Tamura. Paul,
so it's
going over.
I was about to make the same point. I do think Ashino is going over. Even as much as we like to like make fun of like Ashino's booking, I don't think it's gotten that bad that he's like jobbing to Dan Tamura.
Yeah. Yuko Miyamoto versus Joel Redman. Paul, I'm of the opinion if you're flying this guy all the way over, you got to get him into the second round.
Yeah, you have to at least do something with him. Especially because he's also in there now against a guy that is just filling in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty safe that Joel wins.
And then round one, Odo tournament, Yuma Aoyagi versus Ryuki Honda. Paul, I think Honda's winning this because Aoyagi.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you can get a title match out of that one.
Yeah, he beat Aoyagi in the Odo tournament last year too.
And then because he lost the title match against him and then beat him in the tournament, so you can kind of do it in reverse this year.
Yeah. I guess I would put Honda as a possible winner of the tournament.
I think it's Davey Boy. Pretty sure it's Davey Boy.
Okay. So, and then on the 15th at Axe City Hamamatsu, nothing of note on the undercard, but we've got in the Odo tournament, Jun Saito versus Cyrus. It's going to be incredible or the worst match of the.
Yes. I mean, it could also be like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then Kento Miyahara versus Hideki Suzuki.
Yeah, that one I'm actually looking for. That one I'm really interested in how that one's shaking out.
Yeah,
I also don't have a good feeling who's actually winning. Like, I feel like Kento might go out like round one.
I think Hideki's winning.
Yeah, which is why like Aoyagi and Kento going out round one in the tournament.
I don't think you can discount Hideki.
Yeah, that he wins the tournament. I think that's possible. Yeah.
And then that's it for that show. And then we go to Osaka Flower Expo Memorial Park, Surumi Ryokuchi Hana Mizuki Hall.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, on the 16th, and that has Naruki Doi versus Hikaru Sato. I forgot to mention they challenged.
Mm-hmm. Is Sato going to challenge in the pervert outfit?
Oh yeah, because he challenged the pervert outfit. Because we're the pervert outfit in that Suwama tribute match, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Odo tournament round 1. Rei Seto versus Kumarashi. I think that's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ray's advancing.
Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Hokuto Omori. Also very obvious.
Yeah, because my favorite to win is still Davey Boy.
Yuma Anzai versus Renai Abe. Anzai should win.
Yeah, I think you could do an upset here, but I think it just makes the most sense. Just have you can't eliminate like all of your draws in like the first round.
And then on the 19th at Shinkiba, we have the winner of Jun Seto and Cyrus versus Rei Seto and Kumarashi. So I think we're getting a Seto versus Seto.
Mm-hmm.
And June, I think will.
Who won? I forgot who won December 31st.
So June won their first match, and then Rei won their more recent match.
Okay, so makes sense for it to swing back to June. Yeah.
And then Yuma Anzai / Renai Abe versus David Boy Smith Jr. and Hokuto Omori. I could see Smith beating Anzai.
Yeah, especially now that Anzai isn't champion. Yeah, that's like a big scalp for him to get.
Also, so Kento or Hideki versus Yuko Miyamoto or Joel Redmond. This is actually a perfect spot for Hideki versus Joel Redmond.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be lots of like uppercuts.
And Hideki will win that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Yuma Aoyagi or Ryuki Honda versus Shitaro Ashino and Dan Tamura. So I could see Honda beating Ashino.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's pretty likely as well.
So I'm going to go and say that the semifinals are Ryuki Honda versus Hideki Suzuki and Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Jun Saito. And then Smith gets his win over Saito back in the semis. And then beats Honda in the finals.
Yeah. Or beats Hideki in the finals. I think would
he beat? Yeah, I could see Hideki beating Smith in the finals too, though.
That could happen as well, but I also feel like basically that like Hideki, like Davey Boy might be one of those guys that Hideki respects, so he would be willing to put him over.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I could also see like a 5-minute upset of Honda over Hideki in the semis.
Yeah, no, I do think like all of those options do make sense, but I do think Davey Boy is coming out of it as the winner.
Yeah, I just can't pick his opponent. It's either Hideki or Honda.
I would think Hideki. I would think Hideki is making the final. It's Hideki versus
Davey Boy. This year they have the finals in Corkin.
Mm-hmm.
They usually don't, so that's interesting.
That's gonna be that's gonna draw pretty well. I would feel like.
I think it will too. It's on a weekend, so
yeah, it's a Sunday.
So I think so. So that is All Japan Pro Wrestling. I was a little down after those Yuma Aoyagi matches, but I gotta say, in comparison, I feel a little better
than with Noah at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not that I'm super up on Noah. I'm just like I think people are going a little bit too hard on the doom and gloom for Noah at the moment.
Well, you've seen Taishi Ozawa a lot.
Yeah, that might quite literally be the difference. Is me just being like, things are bad, but this guy's coming back eventually, and then it'll be fine.
Exactly. So, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Noah definitely down at the moment. All Japan, I feel like it's still going along strongly. I feel, I feel like All Japan. I think because I was before and I was like, maybe Noah can actually make a run to be like my promotion of the year. I think they were like on that trajectory, but I feel like All Japan is back in that spot now.
Yeah.
Also, DDT might like sneak in.
Well, if Nakajima shows up to end the year,
yeah,
it's very possible. Even though it's hard for me to watch DDT undercards.
That's always the thing that holds me back.
I will watch like a big show or Ultimate Party live, but I'll just bring my computer and like play a game while the undercard's going and just like every so often.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, then I'll like put my computer away and like watch the show like closely and everything like that. But that's how I feel about DDT. And I think at this point, Paul, we might as well just wait because the finals of the Odo tournament are in 17 days, and then we'll have the Noah show with Oiwa versus Oiwa versus Kiyomiya on that. So we'll just come back after the Odo tournament is over and review that, and with all
mix
goings on. Yeah,
because I'm also going to be in Ireland from like the 15th until the 22nd anyway. So
okay, that's perfect then. So we'll reconvene in maybe 17 days. So we'll be back in 18 or 19 days probably. So until then, take care and enjoy all the wrestling out there, because as doomy and gloomy as we can be in some points, there's still a lot of great stuff out there. So take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.